Hey, y'all. Hey, welcome to the PowerWomen podcast. This is the show where powerful women share their journeys, discuss how to solve powerful issues, and the power men who help us rise. I'm your host, Power Mom, Claire Brown. Hey, y'all. Hey, I'm so excited to see y'all today. We are here with a wonderful and longtime friend of mine, J. Michael Manley. Thank you so much for being here
Thanks for
today.
having me.
Absolutely. I have waited so long for this conversation.
Oh, you're too kind.
No, I'm so excited to share so much of this with everyone. So please tell everyone, who is J. Michael Manley?
J. Michael Manley. I'm here in Greenville, South Carolina. We met, I guess, when I was a bold coach, traveling around the country for 5 years, putting family kind of on hold there for a little bit so I could go and help some other people, and run a real estate team and a photography company here in Greenville, and dad and husband. So got some wild and crazy 3 boys.
I know.
And so we live a blessed and charmed life.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yep.
And you did. You were a bold coach and traveled the country. And our audience doesn't necessarily know what bold is or what a bold coach is. So tell everybody what that is and what it entails.
Yeah, so it's a lot of travel. That's what it is. Bold was a 7-week transformational course that I taught around the country. And I would come in every week to a new city, and I would do 4 cities in a row and be in a different city each day. And did that for 7 weeks. And BOLD stands for a business objective, a life by design. It was written by a lady named Diana Kokoska. And so this class, I would go in and help real estate agents and anybody else that attended the class. There were sometimes non-real estate agents there, mortgage brokers, financial advisors, and would help them kind of transform not just their business, yet also transform their life as well.
Yep, very much so. Very much so. And I took that course 6 times. And when I took it with you, I was traveling 3 hours one way to go and see it and take it. And that's where I met you.
2 small children during that time.
Yes. The kids were very young then.
Yeah.
And I was going through a lot of growth. And I had an opportunity to actually go visit Diana that wrote this course because it had been changing my life so much. And she learned about that and invited me to go take a visit with her because of it. So I did. And when I came back, you asked me to share that experience.
Yep.
I stood up in that class, which, I mean, how many were in there? And there were at least 100 people.
Yeah, I think we had 103 people total registered in that class. On any given day, there were probably, 98 to 103.
Yeah. And I'll never forget, I stood up and I shared what happened and my experience, my conversations. And I made the comment and I said, I'm just a single mom.
Oh, I can, even when you say that now, I can just feel it, just the cringe on my, just feel it.
Mm-hmm. And what did you do?
Yeah, so I stopped you.
Yeah.
And I said, wait. That's victim thinking.
Yes.
Right? By saying I'm just a single mom, it was an opportunity to limit yourself.
Right.
Right. You were couching yourself out to other people by saying, I'm just a single mom. And it was working, right? It was working for you because a lot of people had empathy and some people probably even had pity in that moment.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yet from you, it was taking you from a position of being a victim.
Right.
And that was the situation that we wanted to change. Not that you didn't need, adoration for what you were doing and didn't need empathy or any of that stuff. Not saying that. It just it was the position which you were stating it from. Right.
100%. And those are 2 words now that I never use. Or I try my best to never use.
Yes.
are just.
There is no try. It's do or do not.
It is do or do not. Yes. Thank you so much. Whoa. I knew that I was going to get a coaching lesson out of all of this conversation. Thank you so much.
Oh,
I didn't
love
even
it.
pay for it this time. So I do my best to not use the word just. Because since I've grown even more, and in my book, I write about how the word just, it's a minimizer. It limits everything. Before what we use it to describe, it minimizes it. So why are we using it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so in all honesty, we say the word just, like I think from the sales perspective as well, we call people and we say, I'm just calling to follow up with you.
Yeah.
And really what we're doing is we're making ourselves small.
Right.
And we feel like we're bothering those people and those kind of things. And so it really sets us up from a victim standpoint, like we're not in control of the situation.
Right. Now, because I am cognizant and very aware of the power of the word, there are times I do want to minimize things.
Yes, I know, right?
So, hey, I just want to say.
Yeah.
So,
right.
I just want to say that doesn't look that bad. Whatever. I do want to minimize.
Or like
something.
I say to my kids, you just might want to change.
Yeah. You just want to. You might want to reconsider that. Yeah. So having that awareness is huge. And then the other thing is, I call it the single mom card now because that's what it is.
Yeah.
And saying it is that bad taste in my mouth. And then knowing that I did that is just, it minimizes it, but it does. I mean, it. And then I said, but I see the language. Oh, I'm so cognizant of language, especially with the training of NLP that I've had. So it's just, it's just as in my vocabulary so much. And I'm making the point that I want to make, that we are programmed. It shows up in our language. It does determine so much of our actions and our productivity. You saw that in me.
It's so powerful.
It is so powerful. You saw that in me, and you chose to step into my space fiercely, point it out, which then shifted my trajectory in a massive way. Because not only did you say, no, you're not just, and you're not a single mom, but then you redefined it for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the
and
biggest
the way that
piece.
Let's talk about that for a moment, because I told you, I remember the conversation very well. I said, you are doing everything that a 2-parent household's doing it. You're just doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
Not only that.
You said it too. Did you hear that? You're just doing it by yourself. Yeah. There's no just doing it by yourself. You are doing it by yourself.
Doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I said, you are not a single mom. You are a powerful mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I said, you're a power woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I had a 3-hour car ride after.
To sit on those words, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were in Fayetteville and you were driving back to Little Rock.
Right. Yeah. And what's, so I had a car ride, and then I had a week around that, and I had already been journaling because one of the things that it pushes you to do is journal. And I had never journaled every morning. And so I started journaling around Power Mom and Power Woman and Power Women. And then I had a huge event happen in my life of loss. And that pushed it. That was the catalyst to push it over the edge to then reach out and say, I need help. Yeah. I may be a power mom and a power woman, but that doesn't mean I stand alone.
No.
Right. And
none of us stand alone.
No,
right?
No.
That's the kind of the falsity of the self-made person, is that we do it on our own, and we're not. There's always someone there helping.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
And Well, and also, I don't know why we're programmed to not ask for help. I just
Well,
don't.
I think a lot of it is through our upbringing, through attachment styles and those kind of things. The avoidant attachment style is scared to ruffle feathers,
Yeah.
and they want to please people.
Yeah. That doesn't
And
tend to
so
be me.
yeah, and so that's a challenge, right? Like
Yeah.
you don't want to ask for help because you don't want to put your burden
Right.
on other people.
Right.
And I know, your audience is mainly women. Yet for the male perspective of that, they're scared to ask for help because
Yes.
they're told from a very, very young age that they can handle it themselves.
Right.
Right. We were talking about it this morning, like you fall and break your arm. Oh, rub some dirt in that, like you're good. Right. And we don't want to trouble other people with our problems. That's why the challenge is that men don't want to go to therapy because we don't want to burden somebody else with our challenges.
Right. Which is such a falsehood.
It is, right?
It's such a falsehood. Because, I don't know, you scrape your knee, you ask for a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
It's really the same thing. I don't know. I know it's an over dramatization. However, you get cancer, you're going to ask for chemo. You're going to ask for surgery. You're going to ask for help. And it's the same thing.
It is.
It's just a different area of the brain or the body, I should say. And it's just taking care of it.
Well, and I think it plays to the fact that, men and women both, we run through life with this mask on. And, we can talk about healing. And I actually had to ask my therapist this a couple of weeks ago. I said, let me ask you a question. What's the difference between emotional intelligence and masking?
Okay.
And she was like, that's a great question. Like it took her aback for a moment. And imagine being my therapist, right? Like, cause we get pretty deep in there.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
she's got to be pretty equipped.
Right? You're telling me masking's bad, and yet you're saying emotional intelligence is good. Like, what's the difference? And one comes from a masking is that we're hiding ourselves, and the other one is not that we're hiding ourselves. It's that we're being ourselves.
Yes. Yep. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you gave me that definition, and then I dare say that you also started mentoring me over the years.
Yeah.
Because, you
lots of phone calls.
I know.
Yeah.
Like,
talk you off the ledge a couple of times, right?
100%. And then your wife, Vicky, got roped into it too.
Yep.
And I would text Vicky and I'd reach out and see her at conferences and be like, oh, thank you so much.
She loves it. She loves it.
Yeah. But you do. How long have you sold real estate now?
20 years. January of next year will be 21 years I've been selling real estate. So
what does the team look like? Yeah. Yeah. What does the team look like?
We're running really, really slim right now. So there's 4 agents, counting myself, and then 2 admins.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. And so you're no longer doing bold coaching. And so what?
I am not.
Yeah.
No,
so what are you doing with all the travel time?
Spend it being dad, right? Spend it being dad, spend it being, husband, traveling with Vicky a little bit more now that we're not doing the bigger trips like we were doing, where we take the whole family to Seattle yet. We just got back from vacation last week, where we loaded up in the camper and went to the beach and, had fun and got to catch some fish with the boys before we, coming back and drown some worms. And it's funny watching, kids bait a hook, and learn how to bait a hook. And,
I know. Seeing the world through their eyes is the greatest joy.
Yeah. So it's mostly what we're doing with the free time, and then back in there selling real estate 100% now and making it happen.
And so where are you headed with coaching now?
So I actually have my own coaching company. I've got, keep a very small clientele group. And so, we're writing courses right now as well called Rise, which is helping entrepreneurs with ADHD, not just men or women, both. because it's a whole nother thing. And as somebody with ADHD, and every single person in my household has ADHD, my wife is the only one medicated for it. She's so funny, right? Like she lives with a whole house full of us,
of men not medicated.
Not medicated for ADHD, and she's the only one. And I think it's just so that she can deal with us.
Yeah, like why are y'all not medicated?
Right. Well, so my youngest son has some challenges with the medicine, that kind of thing. For me, I have an out of body experience. I think it's because of all the caffeine I drink as well, and to deal with the ADHD. And so I'm writing a course right now for entrepreneurs that are really kind of helping with attachment style, because a lot of that comes from the ADHD and what we've been told. And we get programmed from a very early age for people with ADHD and ADD. It's pretty much the same now. We're realizing that it's not an attention deficit type thing. It's an executive function, right. Which kind of leads into a lot of our attachment styles, which leads into where we procrastinate. All of those pieces, it all comes together, and it does create some challenges.
So what if I'm not diagnosed ADHD, and this sounds a lot like some of the struggles I experience?
And for your audience as well, many, many women are finding that they're later diagnosed with ADHD later on in life, because it was thought to be, for Gen X, I always say for Gen X, it was thought to be a little boy problem, not a female problem.
Yeah.
And what we're finding now is as women are getting older in age, they're starting to get diagnosed because there's more testing, there's more knowledge, there's a lot more stuff out there. They're getting diagnosed at a later age, and it's dramatically changing their lives because they're getting diagnosed. Vicky was not diagnosed until last year, and she's 42.
Wow. And I mean, honestly, I know I joked about it a while ago, but medication does kind of alarm me. Like, what if that is me? And I really don't want to jump into something medically. But if there are tools that could help me, what are those?
Yeah. So there's tons of tools, as far as there's natural tools and there's non-natural tools. When I say medication, meaning not natural tools.
Right.
And I really think that one of the things for people to realize is that before you get on any medication, this is just my personal statement to this, is do the genetic testing to find out which medication is going to work best for you. There's so many different ADHD and ADD medications out there.
Yeah.
Adderall is like most of the doctors go to Adderall until we had an Adderall shortage because the increase of people diagnosed with ADHD through COVID has increased 50%. So the government, yes. So they're like, whoa, opiate type thing, right?
Okay.
Like we want to stop that. So the government put a hold on how many pills these manufacturers can make.
Wow.
And so you got more people taking Adderall, and now we created a shortage.
Okay.
So there's Vyvanse, there's Adderall, there's Strattera, there's several other ones out there. So I would suggest get the genetic testing. I know it's not cheap, yet if you can do the genetic testing to find out which one is best for you before you go on one, it can be a big, big help.
That
and
makes
then
total
also
sense.
Knowing the side effects too.
Yeah. No kidding.
Adderall has Adderall Rage, which creates a whole nother challenge. So there's a lot of things that people don't realize.
Rage is the last thing any of us need.
Right?
Yeah. Because then I'd need to take something to counteract that.
Yeah. And there's actually a supplement out there to counteract that now.
Oh my God.
So
I just have to build an axe throwing lane in my backyard if I did all this.
And for my boys, what we found for them that work amazing well is just exercise.
Why does it always have to come down to exercise and food? I am so sick of that. I just want to be fat, happy and lazy on my couch. Why can't I be that? Why can that not happen?
Right? You can
Why
be.
can't you get a coaching course for that, J. Michael? I need you to get a coaching course. I have found it. I have found how you can be fat and happy and rich. This is it. And you are a PowerWoman. You're going to be fat, happy,
be a billionaire.
Hit your couch.
Billionaire.
You get a couch. You get a couch. Yes. You get a couch.
I love it. I love it.
Very disappointed now.
Yes.
Okay,
well, and exercise is just one part of it. Meditation's a whole nother part of it, right? Like,
I'm sorry, I fall asleep during that. Does ADHD medication help me not fall asleep during meditation?
You know, and what we're finding, like, here's the cool thing, like, a lot of people that are, you know, they're like, I got to have a drink when I get home.
I'm the only one I hear.
That drink is telling their brain that they are now making that transition from work to home. And that's a trigger for them to be able to relax at home. For me, it's actually gotten to be where it's a cup of coffee at night because it'll settle my brain enough to be able to focus at home by just sitting down and having a cup of coffee. So yeah, there's lots of things to work on out there.
Yeah. Still going to look for that perfect couch.
I love it.
I mean, but that is fantastic. I do love and appreciate how you've always sought out the ways to help others improve in so many different ways, in so many different areas. I mean, it's such heart servant leadership. It truly is, J. Michael.
Well, you know, I always say, well, I've found out it's part of my attachment style. It's part of the way that I grew up as a people pleaser. Like, as a people pleaser, I learned to watch everybody's small changes in body language, tonality, all of that stuff. As a child, because I had to watch that so that I could control responses that came back to me.
Yeah.
And so what I was doing is, as a small child, I was learning to control everybody's behavior around me by the way that I acted.
Yeah, to control the outcome.
Which then creates people pleasing, which creates challenges on its own. Yet it does have some benefits as well, because when somebody makes just a micro shift in their facial expression, or somebody makes a micro shift in tonality or anything like that, I'm able to pick up on it. Yeah. And coaching people, it's been a big, big help, because I can see when things, and I'll just stop a lot of coaching calls and I'll be like, something's going on. Tell me what's going on. No, nothing's going on. Right. I'm good.
Yeah,
now,
it is
we're not
fantastic.
going any farther until you're honest with me of what's going on.
Right?
And then it's like,
I know. Isn't it fantastic? I do love how we have been able to use our trauma responses as tools to help and better others.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And the cool part for me, the gratitude part for me, is that it allows me to not harbor resentment.
Right.
It allows me to show gratitude for the way that I was raised, to be able to release a lot of that resentment, because it does help me now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that. I very much understand that. Yeah. Yeah. It's, you're able now to give the grace and the space where sometimes you weren't able to before. I know. Yeah. It's like me thanking my ex-husband for leaving. I know. Because I'd never had joy like this before. And I wouldn't have.
And had he not left, you wouldn't have.
That's right. And I wouldn't have. And I'm so thankful. Yeah. I really get it. Because I wouldn't have gone to your coaching course. Wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have been a single mother to limit myself. None of this. I mean, none of these dominoes. None of it. So grateful. I mean, once you start journaling around the gratitude, you start to find it in All the details.
Everything.
Mhm.
Everything.
Yeah, it's
right.
huge.
And I think the cool part about the journaling on the gratitude is making sure that it's something different each day.
Yeah.
Because what ends up happening is when it's something different each day,
Yeah.
you've got to get really grateful for some pretty small things.
Yeah, I know.
Or you got to dig really deep to find some really amazing things to be grateful for.
Yeah.
And so it stretches you to go out there and start thinking.
It really does. And then you start seeing gratitude in others, in other scenarios, their lives, their situations. And it's like, oh, I'm so grateful to not have that journey.
Yeah.
And things that I have and that I didn't even recognize.
Yeah.
And so how has all of this impacted your children? The growth, the coaching, all of these things. How do you see that as a power dad and as a power man?
Well, I think, for my oldest, he just graduated high school this year.
Mm-hmm.
And, he had told me in middle school, Dad, I'm not going to college. And I'm like, that's okay. I'm not forcing you to go to college, right? Like I'm not sending you to college just to go to college to, have an extra 4 years to party.
Right.
And so he's joining the workforce, and watching him kind of grow through this. Like he thought he had a job and he's working right now full time with the school system. They hired him on and they were going to offer him a full-time job. And so now he's having to make choices about, hey, they're saying, they're not going to have this type of job for me when school starts back at the end of this month. Like it's already started back, yet they're keeping him on through the first month. He's like, what do I do? And so really starting to watch him kind of do that. The other thing too is for my youngest, and we've talked about this before, my youngest has some challenges. He has a condition called PANDAS, which stands for Pediatric Acute Neurological Disorder Associated with Strep. So every time his body perceived a strep infection or any type of infection, he lost all cognitive ability, went straight into reptilian brain, I guess to say really poorly what's happening, and he loses it. And it's bad.
Yeah.
And so learning how to see gratitude in those moments and learning how to learn attachment styles and learning how to love through those moments instead of me losing it, right? No longer utilizing the tools that my parents used to control me,
right,
or the church used to control me, right? Like it's now looking at it and saying, okay, what does he need in this moment? How can I help him understand and control, learning to hold space for those emotions? Right. When he's losing it, realizing that he is losing it because there's something there, not because he's just wanting to be defiant. No. There's something there. Yeah. And holding space for him, letting him know that his emotions are valid. His reaction may not be valid, yet his emotions are valid. And that's okay. Which is
so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we're reactionary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with our children, right? Like we get reactionary with our kids. Like I said, get down here right now.
Right. Yeah.
When last night, I had a situation last night. My oldest son would not take a shower and just flat out lied to me that he had taken a shower. No, you didn't.
Oh my gosh.
You got the top of your hair wet in the sink because the tub is dry.
Oh my word. A house full of boys has to stink so much, J. Michael.
Let's just say that we got a big air filter in our house that runs constantly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a constant battle with them to get them showers, to get them to brush their teeth, right? Like and so learning like, okay, what's he needing in that moment? Right.
Right.
And
a girl.
Got ADHD.
That's what he needs in that moment is a girl.
Executive function.
He needs a girl.
That's true. I do find that when the oldest, his girlfriend, got a girlfriend, she kind of made sure that he kept his hygiene up a little bit better than what he was doing before.
Yeah. Deodorant, cologne, all the things, aftershave, hair
brushing
gel.
teeth.
It all happens.
Yeah.
Miraculously.
None of them are hair gel. The youngest uses more hair gel than any of them yet. The
Mine's
oldest
starting to
let
get
it
in
grow
it.
out. It looks like Casey Dutton from,
I know.
literally looks just like Casey Dutton
I
from
know.
Yellowstone.
Yeah. Yeah.
He gets so
Mine's
mad at me
starting
when
to
I
get
tell
in
him
it.
that.
It's fabulous. I'm
So,
like, yes. Yes.
oh,
I know. It's like giant boxes of baking soda from Amazon on delivery regular. Like, keep it coming. Uh-huh. And
yeah.
then I've got to be best friends with all the girl moms at school and like invite them all over. Like,
Yep.
guess what? They're all coming for play date today. Yeah. No, they all need girls. That's what your key is there.
It is a motivating force for them.
Yeah. Just focus on the motivation and negotiate from there.
Yeah.
That's the key to parenting.
Yes. So
All right.
it's so fun.
It is so fun. I also want to know who have been the biggest influences to you?
Ooh.
Because there's so much wisdom, there's so much goodness that you unpack to others all the time. And so who helped form this?
It's if I attempted to name people, individuals, I probably would miss somebody out.
Yeah.
And miss somebody.
We all would.
So it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
I understand that.
And it's been,
Give me your top 3.
Okay, so people around here that know me, if I say my mom, they'd be like, no. Yet I have to say, because me and mom, we have a tough relationship together. And so number one is I'd say mom, because growing up, she let me do what I wanted to do and like learn my hard knock lessons, those kind of things. And so that was a big one. Like I was never told that I couldn't do something. And there for a long time, like I succeeded based on the fact that I said, I'm just dumb enough to think I can do it. Right. And that's a huge piece for a lot of people. Like it's not the smartest person that succeeds. It's just the person that's dumb enough to think that they can do it most of the time.
It's not dumb. It's just the person that's fearless.
Yeah. Right. Well, I sent another person a message today. I said, reality is your goals minus your doubts.
That's right.
Right. And if you're, I still like it if you're just dumb enough to think you can make it happen, right? Like it just sounds cooler. And yet, yet it's that piece, right? It's just that piece that you just believe that you can do it.
Yeah.
Right. It's the whole mindset piece. So I have to say mom on that realm. And then as far as like when I got into the business world, I had my very first boss out of college worked for a company with NASCAR. And this was a dude that would take you and stand new people up on the edge of the cliff and push them off. And before they got down to the end of the thing, he goes, oh yeah, don't forget to learn how to fly.
Yeah.
And he put me in that scenario I remember I loaded up in Florence, South Carolina, drove to Indianapolis. This is on a Sunday night, drove to Indianapolis on Wednesday of the very next week, like that. So Monday night, or Monday morning, I'm pulling into Indianapolis, and Wednesday, I'm in a truck and a trailer headed to Bristol Motor Speedway, one of the largest events for NASCAR out there. Smaller track, yet it seats a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I go in there and run that entire event by myself.
Oh my word.
I had nobody coming in no leadership, nobody that had been doing it before coming in to help me. And I made a massive mistake. Like when I ran over somebody's grills and did like $2,000 worth of damage when pulling out and everything. And he's like, did you do it? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, that person was wrong that they had them all out in that tight spot. And I'm going to pay for it and we're going to fix it. Yet just know that next time, ask them to move the grills before you pull out. So he was that kind of boss that just let you do that. And so Jim Ashby, I'm friends with TikTok with his daughter, yet I haven't seen him in years.
Yeah.
And that was a big learning experience to let me go out and just fail.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna say we both know this person. I'm gonna say John Prescott.
Yeah.
So John Prescott, in that very first bold, did not let me play the victim card at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm living with my in-laws.
Is this you as the student?
This is me as a student in 2010. I'm literally like, I didn't have the money to pay the power bill at my apartment. Me and my wife had been married for 4 months. My mother-in-law shows up. Our power gets cut off. We have to make that decision to move in with them.
Oh.
And I literally, in that very first bold that I took as a student, so this was all happened in 2000, got married in 2008, December of 2008. By April of 2009, we're living with my in-laws. I took bold January of 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And he just did not let me take a victim card.
Mm-hmm.
And he was tough. Like, I mean, not the kind tough. Right, John? I mean, you know John Prescott. Like, he is not the kind, tough a person. Like, he's very blunt. He's very, like, get over yourself kind of thing. And it was what I needed at the moment. He just did not let me play that victim card, no matter what was going on. I remember running one night. I was just running. It's snowing outside in South Carolina. It rarely happens. It was snowing that night. I'm just mad at the world, tears, and I'm running. And it was at that point, everything kind of clicked through, and things started changing.
Yeah. There's a moment. We all have a moment.
Yeah.
You gave me my moment.
I remember the bridge, running across the bridge, and like, there's no cars out because it's South Carolina. We don't have, snow plows or anything. Like, I'm running across this bridge. There's like 2 inches of snow on the ground. The whole city is just completely shut down. And I'll never forget it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
John Prescott gave you your moment.
Yep.
You gave me my moment. I'm so forever grateful for the moment.
Awesome.
I'm forever grateful for the conversations. I think that's the key to so many things. A moment and conversations can transform everything. If you'll just get into curiosity to have them. That's all it takes.
Well, it's two things, Ron. It's being able to receive.
Yes. It's being open to receive it.
Yes. And two, the person giving it, having the courage to give it. Because sometimes, like in that moment, when you got 103 people in a classroom and I got to call you out on the fact you're playing the victim card in front of your peers.
Right.
Right? Like, there's a lot of ego that goes into that moment, and it can very easily blow up.
Right. I could have very easily gone on the defense of, why is he doing this to me in front of everyone? And I mean, so many different things.
Right? Like, I'm driving 3 freaking hours, and here you are going to call me out in front of everybody, And so you have to be open to receive, and the person that's giving as well has to be open to give.
Right. To be very clear, to drive 3 hours, to pay for a course, to have the dedication to do it for 7 weeks, and do the homework. It's not a cheap course.
I mean, it was $800.
Yeah, it's not cheap. I mean, and to do all the things, and by the way, that wasn't my first time to drive 3 hours to take it.
Right.
Right. It was my second. But to do all that, I was more than happy to receive anything I got in that room.
Well, and I think your mindset is that you were open to receive. Like in going through that course, it's taught to stay out of judgment, right? You weren't judging me in that moment.
No.
You weren't thinking that I was judging you in that moment, right? It was just staying in curiosity. So staying out of judgment, staying in curiosity, not just for you, yet also for me.
Right. But then that interaction was a model for others.
Yes.
Which then
absolutely.
Who knows what that changed? You
Well,
never
that one
know.
conversation, like how many conversations, like how many people listen to the podcast, how many people see you on TV, like how many people have read your book, like all of that has stemmed from one conversation where you were open to receive,
right?
that you were open to receive,
right? And so that's what I hope my children get from me is to always be bold enough to ask the hard questions and then also be bold enough to receive the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for always sharing your gifts and your wisdom. I'm forever, I'm going to get teary again. I always do with you, but thank you so much.
Again, I will always say it was an honor because I came home that night not knowing that it was your moment.
I know.
Yet I got to come home that night and have a conversation with Vicky about what had transpired. And it was a cool thing to watch. And it's been a very cool thing to watch over the years how you've taken that one conversation and ran with it.
I'm forever grateful. I'll forever be grateful for it. Thank you for helping me help others. I love you so much. And thank you so much for your time.
Yes. Always.
Okay. Well, I can't wait till the next time we talk.
I know, right?
I know. Well, how can people find you? How can they sign up for your new course? All those things.
So I think probably the best way to find me right now is coaching.jmmteam.com.
Awesome.
So coaching.jmmteam.com. And we're building out that website right now. It's already up and running. So it's got, you can go in and put your information on there. And life is fun.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, J. Michael. Please tell Vicky hello.
I will do.
And I hope the boys find some girls soon so your house smells better. I know. Stocking stuffers are great. Deodorant, cologne, all they need.
Deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste, like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome.
Yes.
Have a great day.
Y'all too. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, please rate and review on iTunes and check out our website, thepowerwomen.org.